Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is the Hacker Radio back in the case, and I'll just give you a demonstration of the set working. Now, I'm using two PP3s, I don't have any PP9s, and I'd rather not connect it up to the bench supply because you can bring in noise and things like that, which I don't want. The phone actually, I'm afraid, does the same thing. This is Longwave, and the nearer I get to the set, the worse the noise, so I have to be quite careful here. Now, as I say, that's Longwave. I get the feeling Westerglen must be off air, along with another station, the Irish Spirit Radio. All the radios in here today are very poor, and I must admit, yesterday when I checked, I didn't check any other sets, so it looks to me as if it's a fault at Westerglen. So I'm receiving Radio 4 from Droitwich. Okay, that's Longwave. We'll go on to medium wave. And
out for the weekend on BBC Radio Scotland with me.
Well, as you heard, Radio Scotland, that's on 370 metres. There we are. We'll go down the band. There's not an awful lot down the band here. That's Dumfries. Now the whistles are probably coming from phone, lights, all sorts of things that's on. Don't think there's much else this time of day. They say Spirit Radio's disappeared. I don't know. I've sent an email to them asking what's the problem, and they said the transmitter is down. So
back, lean back. Hold up, yeah, hold.
And heads it through the gap. Oxby and Jacob.
not much right down. There is four sometimes you can pick up here. Yeah, that's it. In the background. It's facing the wrong way anyway. Bit better that way. Can't move it around too much or I'll disconnect it. FM, VHF.
What else can I say, girl? Can't you play my...
For porridge with...
There we go, that's it. Turn it off. Anyway, this is the board that came with the set. As you can see now, there's two IF cans missing from it. What I did actually was I replaced all the three transistors. I had three AF116s here that had been, if you like, repaired in the past. They did have tin whiskers, but I did actually manage to blast them away. And I've had them in the drawer for ages. But the whole thing got a bit messy because I think persons unknown before Richard had a go at this. I think the main problems were twofold. The first problem was up at the local oscillator where there was a land open circuit, so the oscillator wasn't running. That's why the voltages were completely wrong. And this transformer here, this one, this has the capacitor running up the inside of the wire, inside of the can, and the wire wasn't insulated. So of course the secondary was basically a dead short. So that would never have worked. Then of course we had this little boy in here, which was the detector and a last IF. Well, Richard had opened that up, which he admits to, which is fair enough. And what was happening there was the wire was broken. Now I did try to repair it, but obviously there was something else hidden and it didn't work. So we really got to the stage that what we had to do was try and find another IF transformer. Certainly for this one I'm sure I had repaired. This one I'm sure I had repaired. But something stuck in the back of my mind. I had another hacker to do a long time ago. That in fact the customer didn't want to spend the money on, and I had actually just basically dumped it. But I must have pulled it to bits, and I put the board in the spares box, the junk box. And when I had a wee look yesterday, or the day before, I found it. So I thought, oh yes, ideal. But my intention was originally to just repair Richard's IF board. But looking at the one that I had in my spares box was in better nick. Two IF transformers were present, and the one that hadn't been touched at all on this one was the one that was missing off the other. So I thought, well, you'd better doing it that way than rather than replacing 2 IF transformers. You've got to unsweat them, you've got to use a solder sucker, solder braid to get it out to do a neat job, and it's much easier to do it with just one. So that's what I did. Anyway, it's all been put together. What I've done is I've fitted an AF 180 in one position, which I had, and a couple of AF 178s. Not 178s, are they 178s? That's these boys here. I can never remember the numbers. 126s, AF 126s. In there. They're good transistors. They don't suffer with tin whisker problems. So end of the day, it's not going to give you any trouble that way down the line. I have left an AF117 in the oscillator, but it was actually a new one, that one, believe it or not, in the little Mullard packing, and it's always been all right, but I did give it a flash anyway, just in case tin whiskers were growing. Sometimes you can even stop them in their tracks, if you like, with doing this. About 150 volts across it, having all three junctions joined together and just flashing it across to the shield. That seems to be okay. It doesn't damage the transistor, so as I say, it's working. So anyway, that's the set done. I've got a couple of screws to put in, the nut for the board, the 2 screws here for the bottom of the chassis. The 2 side ones are in, and then we'll get it boxed back up and get it back down to Richard. As I say, I can't be 100% certain about long wave because the transmitter, as far as I can tell, is off, or it's on reduced power or whatever. I'll occasionally get that with Westerglen. They do maintenance, so it's not a massive problem. But as I say, it should probably be fine when Richard gets it back down there. I would imagine it'll be really strong with Droitwich. I'm happy with the repair. The set's working fine, and unfortunately, the video I did of the actual repair, I was using my phone with it clipped onto a tripod, and I must have double pressed the record button and put it into pause mode while I was doing this, and by the time I had done them, it was actually quite long. It wasn't a 5-minute clip. It was probably longer than that. It was maybe about 7 or 8 minutes. I was going through things with the scope and things like that. By the time I did it, and I've got it all finished now, and of course, well, I don't want to unrepair it. Anyway, that's it. Hopefully Richard will be happy with it, and no doubt he'll let you know how things go. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Bye now.